Welcome to Film Club. 65 is out in cinemas now. From the directors of A Quiet Place, Brian Woods and Scott Beck. 65 is an action-adventure sci-fi where Adam Driver crash lands on planet Earth 65 million years ago. I wanted to do something slightly different this review, and instead of going straight into the plot, I thought I'd discuss the reasons why I think this film will flop very badly. If that's not of interest, feel free to skip ahead. There are time codes in the description. Now, I think this movie is okay, with some great acting and good visuals, but I'm almost certain that this film will flop. On opening day, I was one of only 5 people watching the film in my local theatre. One problem 65 has got playing against it is, I think, the name of the film. 65 just kind of feels incomplete. It obviously refers to 65 million years ago when the dinosaurs were about, but I can't help but feel that the title doesn't entice people at all to watch the film. 65 is just a number that evokes nothing at all. Scream 5, for example, which is also coming out today, is totally the opposite. You know the genre of Scream just by the name alone. The next issue I think the film has is its marketing. I've seen little to no marketing for the film, and as it costs a reported $91 million to produce, you would expect a similar budget to be spent on marketing, but it certainly doesn't feel that way. The third reason I think 65 will flop is the stiff competition it faces in March. Creed 3 has been out for a week, and it seems to be doing quite well at the box office, and Scream 5 is also releasing today. On top of that, there's Shazam 2 next week, John Wick 4 the week after that, and then Dungeons and Dragons after that. These are all successful franchises, or in the case of Dungeons and Dragons, a very recognisable IP, meaning that 65 has got to make most of its money early on, before it gets outmuscled by bigger films over the next few weeks. Something I really don't think it's going to do. So that's my thoughts on how 65 will fare at the box office, despite being an interesting film. It's a shame really. With that said, on to the full spoiler review. If you want to go into the movie blind, then perhaps come back later. Let's get straight into it. Plot. Mills, an astronaut from the planet Samaris, is sent on a job, transporting cryogenically frozen passengers across space. This job will take him 2 years to complete, and he will be away from his wife and daughter for that time. The reason he is doing this job is so that he can pay for his daughter's medical support, as she suffers from a life-threatening illness. Over halfway into the journey, Mills' ship is hit by asteroids, and it crash lands on planet Earth 65 million years ago. The asteroids that hit Mills' ship are heading for Earth, and an event that, as we know, will make the dinosaurs extinct. At first, Mills seems to be the only survivor, and he reports back to his command centre and says there's no point to rescue him. A few days later, Mills' ship scans and finds Koa, who is the only surviving cryogenically frozen passenger, and he spots a seemingly intact escape vessel 15 kilometers away on the edge of a mountain. Mills rescues Koa and brings her to the ship. They send a new message to command center asking to be rescued. Koa cannot speak English, so Mills and Koa have to communicate with one-word answers or pointing actions with their hands. Mills lies to Koa, telling her that her parents were on the escape pod on the mountain, when in reality, Koa's parents died along with the rest of the ship's passengers. The pair face off against dinosaurs of all shapes and sizes, and it's revealed from an old recording from Mills' daughter that she died from her illness some months ago, and that is why he didn't want to be rescued when he reported his crash to the command center. Mills and Koa bond through their shared experiences on the prehistoric Earth, and make it to the escape vessel fighting off dinosaur after dinosaur. We see meteorites enter the Earth's atmosphere, teasing the upcoming giant world-ending asteroids colliding with Earth imminently. Before their escape vessel launches, Koa realises that Mills lied about her parents, in order to get her to follow Mills to the escape vessel and save her. And after Mills says to her that he lost his daughter too, they each understand each other's loss and hug. Just before launch, one of the asteroids hits their vessel and they are knocked down a mountain. Mills and Koa fight off 3 massive dinosaurs and they escape Earth before the asteroid hits. We then see the destruction of Earth, and Mills and Koa hold hands as they fly towards the rescue ship that responded to Mills' rescue signal. An enjoyable dinosaur-heavy spectacle with a father-daughter relationship at its centre. Plot, score 6 out of 10. Entertainment value. The film is an excuse for Adam Driver to shoot dinosaurs, and it delivers on that front. It was an interesting blend of action and sci-fi, and dinosaur and apocalypse subgenres. There were some good character moments, and I enjoyed the tech and the look of the CG dinos. When Mills and Koa were fighting the dinosaurs, it did however seem a bit clunky, and it would have been nice to see a wider variety of dinosaurs in the film. They all blurred into raptor and T-Rex looking dinosaurs. For entertainment value, 65 scores 7 out of 10. Characters and performances. The part which makes me saddest about the lack of people in the cinema with me on opening day is that the acting from Adam Driver as Mills and Ariana Greenblatt as Koa is really good. Adam Driver expertly plays a tragic, closed-off figure, reluctant to get attached to Koa. It's similar to the relationship between Joel and Ellie from The Last of Us, except Mills and Koa are less morally ambiguous, I suppose. There are some really great moments between the two, with Mills using the same moves and jokes that he did with his daughter before he left her to take this job. He gives a tragic overtone to his interactions, as every conversation reminds him of his now dead daughter. Koa speaks a different language to Mills, and because of this, Ariana Greenblatt is reduced to single words and facial expressions. This was a great choice for the character, as a kid in danger because they're not listening to the adult trope is avoided in this film. Koa can't understand what Mills is saying, so when she makes a choice that is different to what Mills has said, she is not disobeying him, as she doesn't know the details of Mills' plan, only that they need to get to the escape vessel. I also like the fact that she is not too strong and not too weak. Koa is a great take on a young, resourceful girl cliché. She's scared as any child would be after being dropped into an unknown planet full of dinosaurs, but she learns quickly from her mistakes. Chloe Coleman as Naveen, Mills' daughter. There is a lovely opening scene with Mills and Naveen. Naveen's illness is really intriguing, and then in the middle of the film, we find out that she has in fact died. This is shown by recordings that she sent her dad Mills, and they play at different points in the film. It's a very good way of conveying their relationship without using flashbacks or Mills having to give exposition. Naveen's death explains why, until Mills found Koa, he contacted Command Center, not asking to be rescued, as only he was alive. Only when finding Koa does he ask for the pair to be rescued. There are slightly clunky lines at times, and not the best script, but also not a terrible one. The performances from Driver and Greenblatt certainly elevate the movie. Characters and performances score 8 out of 10. Visuals. The old sci-fi design of the ship and the technology is fun. The landscape of prehistoric Earth is stunning, with tree-covered mountains, lush forests, waterfalls, and volcanic water geysers. The meteorites crashing down in an ever-increasing frequency adds urgency to their mission to reach the escape vessel. As mentioned before, the dinosaurs are certainly not too bad either. Visuals score 8 out of 10. Sound. At times the score was a bit too obvious, when Mills and Koa are having a funny or bonding moment. The music changes tone, almost signposting what message the actors are trying to get across. It was almost like the soundtrack said, "Hey, this is the funny part," or "This is meant to be the dramatic moment." It was all a bit too noticeable. The sound design of the dinosaurs, the ship, and the asteroids was really good. Sound scored 6 out of 10. Ending. The pair escape the planet as the Earth gets destroyed by the giant asteroid in what was a really good scene. In the escape vessel, Koa reaches for Mills' hand, and they hold hands as they head towards the rescue ship. I'm so glad they didn't say something like, "And now we're family," or another cheesy line. Their connection was left unspoken, which was a really good choice. Ending scored 7 out of 10. Rating. 65 receives a rating of 70%. A good simple movie that is perhaps a decade or two too late. Film leaderboard. When we look at the film leaderboard, 65 sits at 9th place, scoring the same as Ant-Man 1 and Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. There's not quite enough for me to say that you need to watch 65 at the cinema, and maybe it's best to wait for it to come out on video or TV. However, at the same time, I do want more films which aren't just remakes or prequels of established IPs, and I certainly don't regret watching it at the cinema. Genre comparison. Looking across the action-adventure genre, 65 comes in at 6th place, below Shazam and No Time to Die. The IMDB rating is at 5.7 out of 10, so that also doesn't bode well for the movie's success. The Rotten Tomatoes scores are blank, with only 2 critic reviews, which perhaps shows the reviewer's apathy more than anything else for the movie. Next week, we will be reviewing Shazam: Fury of the Gods on release day, and John Wick Chapter 3, as we are recapping all 3 John Wick films before Chapter 4 comes out in 2 weeks' time. On a TV front, we are reviewing The Mandalorian Season 3 and A Bad Batch Season 2. It's early days for the channel, so if you enjoyed this video, then subscribing and liking the video would mean a lot. Thank you, and see you again.